Friends of a Newton teen mourning and remembering their friend tonight.
17-year-old Osi Guzman Garza killed in a crash Thursday morning near Orlando, Oklahoma, traveling to Texas for a Labor Day weekend vacation. His parents hospitalized in critical condition. Friends now telling Brandon Stitt it does not feel real.
Yeah, Mike, Rachel, the Guzman Garza family made it to Payne County, Oklahoma along I-35 when that tragic crash happened. Friends tell me tonight they're remembering the good times and processing the loss of a best friend, a brother, family.
We have a lot of good memories together.
He was like family to me, like brother.
Newton High School teens Thomas and Jamon have a lot to reflect on.
I've known him since we were little kids.
You just meet that one person, it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna be special in my life.
A special person, a best friend, a brother. Osi was all of them.
Wherever I would go, he would come with. He's a funny guy. We're funny. We're all funny together.
While making their way to Texas for Labor Day weekend, Osi and his family were in a tragic crash. Osi didn't make it.
I just seen him 10 hours ago.
It doesn't feel real at first.
It was real.
You hear it and you just go blank-minded.
At that point in time, everything inside me just went weak.
Now Thomas and Jamon mourn the loss of Osi together while keeping his memory alive.
His passing impacts me a lot because that was my best friend. That was who I could go to for anything and everything.
I want everybody to know how good of a person he was. Everybody he hung around with, they always had a smile around.
And the family telling me tonight that mom and dad are showing some improvement, but they're still in critical condition. A GoFundMe has been set up to help the Guzman Garza family as they continue their recovery and mourn the loss of their son. A link to that GoFundMe can be found on this story on the 12 News app.